Hello and welcome. This is Hacks, and in this video I'm going to describe to you how the Iron Sky works. First, I want to say thank you to Tango Tech. I learned a lot of information about how iron farms work. And I also want to say thank you to Daniel Coates for his video, The Iron Towers. You will notice a lot of similarities between the Iron Towers and this farm because I borrowed a lot of that from him. He had a lot of really good ideas. They worked really well, and so I decided to reuse them. So thank you for that, and let's get to it. There are three basic kinds of iron golem farms, and that is single village, multi-village, and stacked village. Single village is going to be by far the simplest to build with the minimal amount of resources, and will give you about 45 ingots per hour. Multi-village is really just an extension of single village, where you build multiple single villages far enough apart, and then you just run water lines together so that you can collect the iron golems in one spot. Stacked village is going to be your most complicated. This is where you manipulate the way that villages work so that they are physically stacked on top of one another, so you can build a single trap for many different villages all together. Stacked villages can be built two different ways, statically or automatically. Statically means that you're building the villages as you're building the actual building itself, and this must be built in the spawn chunks. It can be a little bit difficult to recover if you make any mistakes, but it's generally a little bit easier to do, and there's almost no redstone involved. The only building I know of that is like this is the Iron Titan by Tango Tech. The other way of doing it is automatically. That means that you're using redstone mechanics to physically manipulate the way that the villages work. This can be the most complicated and involves a lot of redstone, so it's not for the redstone adverse. On the flip side, it can be built outside of the spawn chunks, and recovering from a mistake often means you just fix the mistake and then you hit a button to get the reset part going. And it can also be shut down should you decide that you no longer want the iron golems falling from the sky. There are two builds that I know that are like this, the Iron Towers by Daniel Coates and Iron Sky by me. In the next part of this video, I'm going to describe to you how the farm actually works. If you find yourself a little lost or confused, you may want to check out the wiki article I have linked in the description. It does a really great job of explaining how village mechanics works in Minecraft. But let's go ahead and get started. When the farm comes out of reset mode, the initial villages here are automatically extended and activated by the villagers that are sitting there. So without doing anything, you already have a single village. This is the equivalent to a single cell village type. And you can see that here illustrated by the mod I have activated, the village viewer mod, which does a great job of showing the actual village, which isn't readily visible by the game. Then the farm goes into its sequence to activate various doors and villagers to get villages going. So let's see how that works. The first thing that happens is we come over here to the north, and this villager right here gets dropped down. This is the A villager, and these two doors right here represent the A doors. This door right here is actually further away from the center than the required 65 blocks, or 65 meters rather, from the village center, and we'll get into the reason why here in a bit. But if we drop this guy down here, you should see that a new village gets spawned, and there it goes, and linked between the two doors. The center of the village is now the average between these two doors. The next step is to activate the B village. So we'll come over here to the B villager and drop him down. And then we should see, there it goes already, the B doors have all activated and linked up with our new village. So the game sees this door first because it's the furthest north, and then it sees this door and then the following doors, and all while it's doing that, it's able to link up to our new village instead of the old one because the new one is brought closer. And the purpose of the B here is so that we can get the center of our village close enough so that any one of our village lines back here can be activated, and it will be brought into the new village instead of the old one. So now the next step is to activate the next village in line. And that's done with our counter circuit here, and I'll activate that with this button. There it goes. So this piston extends, and that bud powers the piston underneath it here. What this does is allow skylight access between this block and this block to hit the doors below, because pistons are completely transparent. And then that allows these doors to actually be considered real houses, and so they get linked up. As you can see here, they have all the pink lines. It's kind of a mess back there, but you can see them all hooked up and connected back there. And also notice the center of our village has now moved a little bit to over here. The next step is to activate the C village. So if we come over here to the C villager, drop him down, you'll see that the C doors get brought in. There they go. And all the lines are connected to all of our C doors. So the purpose of doing this is to bring the center of the village as far south as possible. As you see, it's brought a little bit there, and really as far away from our first door over there as possible. And what this is doing is it's increasing the radius of our village. That's really its only purpose. If you can kind of see, I don't know how well this is going to get picked up, the purple sphere or the pink sphere is quite a bit larger than our red sphere. The red sphere is the original, and the pink one is our new one. And most importantly, you can see that the pink dots here come out further than our red dots. So this is going to enable us to do the next step, which is the D villager. So we come over here and drop him down. So what's happened here is the game sees this door first and not the other ones, because this is further west. And this door here is exactly one block too far from our original village there, the red one. But it's close enough to the pink one to merge into that one. So instead of going through the mechanic of figuring out which village is closer, we just say, well, there is only one village for you to link up to, and so go ahead and link up to that. This door here pulls that village close enough so that the rest of these doors here can be activated. And the purpose, as you might guess, for this is to bring the center of our new village here to be on this side of the build. And as long as it's on this side, then we can activate any of the doors here below. And so our next step is to do the exact same thing we did on the other side. Increment our counter to open up the next village. There it goes. And this is why it's important that the counters go in opposite directions, so that the villages it links up with are catty corner, and then that will keep the center of our farm, or the center of our villages, exactly in the middle. If they linked up directly across, then we would have a long line of villages going across, which would be fine, but our collection system would have to be bigger to accommodate that. Then the rest of the hoppers over here that represent the rest of the counting, because we just went through all of these really quickly, and so the rest of the hoppers over here add for the extra time that it's going to take for all of these villagers to pop back up and basically disconnect the doors that we've added, leaving only the doors that we had in the middle. While we wait for that to happen, it's worth noting that the position of these villagers here are pretty precise. You can see that this guy here is always down, and he's the guy that's going to occupy all of our village doors that never change, the ones that are activated by the pistons. And the other two do our temporary doors. The deal is that this guy is too far away from our C and B doors to see them, so he never activates them. And this guy here, this is our B villager, is too far away from the C doors to activate them. By the time the B doors are activated and we activate the C doors, we don't really care if the C villager can see them or not, because they're already going to be activated. So now you can see the temporary doors are all deactivated, and we have an extra line of pink here with the red, and they're all linking into the second line here. And we have another village sitting directly on top of the other ones. So from this point, there goes a golem. From this point, the cycle starts all over, and we just add another village there, and then that repeats for 32 times, or 31 times, sorry, as the first one is already there. Once that sequence happens 31 times, the last piston over here is going to be extended, which means this torch is going to be lit up. And then that's going to also light up this redstone line here. That gets followed up here into this block. And when this block gets unpowered by both sides, then this guy lights up. And then that ends up deactivating. It's already deactivated, you can see. And this is the other side of that AND gate where we detect an item inside of this hopper. So that means that the last piston has been extended, and the item has found its way all the way around, save for 2 extra hoppers, into the next sequence, so the next sequence doesn't end up starting. And this guy over here just locks down the counter for the main sequence. While the farmer is going and has decent rates, we expect a golem to be passing through here pretty frequently, and when that does, it activates that tripwire. That signal gets brought all the way up here, over there, and through this. This is a manually resetting counter. So every time that line pulses, it causes the RS NOR latch here to switch over, and that ends up filling up one side of the hoppers. And once that's done, this over here, this side, will reset the RS NOR latch, allowing the hoppers to empty. And when this hopper gets empty, then it will light up, like it is now, it will light up this torch, unlights that torch, and then that comes over here and allows the whole system to reset. As you can see, this is also with an AND gate over here to our main switch, so that the farm will not reset itself while it's already building. One thing you might notice to be a little bit different than the other iron golem farms you found is this line right here. And originally I did design this to be the same way that Daniel Coates did his in the Iron Towers, where we had a 128 hoppers to be exact, just for the villages here, making a big circuit around to do the counter. And while that worked fine, it's actually more compact, a little bit easier to build. I found it ironic that it took 10 stacks of iron ingots in order to make an iron golem farm, just for this part, of course. There's still the hoppers up there. So I set out to find a way to make this work without using hoppers. And so this is the alternative. It's probably a little bit more complicated. It uses 128 and a few more repeaters. So, you know, choose your evil. But you're more than welcome to use the hopper version if you like. But I found this one to be a little bit more fun to build, so that's why it's over here in the tutorial. And that's all there is to it. I really hope this video helped you guys understand the farm a little bit better. If you have any questions, please leave it down in the comments. I will try to get to them all. But thanks for watching, guys. This has been Hacks. Bye-bye.